So in today's video, I want to go ahead and talk about the DLC exclusivity deals that happen within Call of Duty and if it will be returning to the Xbox for Black Ops 4 or staying with the PlayStation. Let's get right into the video. Now, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, please go look at my recent video where I discussed about the shifty basic training skill and whether or not it is overpowered in Call of Duty World War II. I would really appreciate the support for that video. But anyways, when it comes to the DLC exclusivity deal for Call of Duty, I'm not really a huge fan of it and think it shouldn't even exist. For those of you guys who don't know what DLC exclusivity is though, it's basically where either the Xbox or PlayStation, and who knows, even maybe one day the PC community, pay money to Activision to be able to receive exclusive content such as DLC earlier than their competitors. Obviously, the one that pays the most to Activision is going to be the one to get that extra content earlier, and that has been the PlayStation for the past 3 years, who have been basically receiving all the DLCs earlier than Xbox and the PC community since they signed the deal back when Black Ops 3 first came out in November of 2015. However, when the PlayStation signed this deal, it was only supposed to last for 3 years, which is why Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, and World War II exclusive contents have been coming to the PlayStation 4 first. But now with Black Ops 4 arriving and the 3-year term coming to an end, will the exclusivity deal return back to the Xbox? Now, just to recap a little bit, before Black Ops 3, almost all of the Call of Duties that have came out before have always had their DLCs come out for the Xbox before the PlayStation did. So basically from Modern Warfare 2 in 2009 all the way till Advanced Warfare in 2014. So in a way, Xbox had this deal much longer than the PlayStation users ever had. But coming back to the point, would it be worth it for the deal to move back to Xbox? In a way, yes, because Xbox has lost a lot of games in terms of exclusivity deals. So yes, Activision isn't the only one that does these kind of deals, and it would become beneficial for Microsoft to get something like Call of Duty back on their list. Because let's be honest, although there might be a lot of hate for Call of Duty as the years go by, and even though people are saying that Call of Duty is dead or World War II is dry, including myself from time to time, it still sells at the end of the day. People will still buy it and try giving it a shot every year, and it always ends up being near the top or even the top best-selling games each year. Plus, there has been a lot of speculations that the deal might return back to the Xbox because David Vonderhaar, who is the studio director at Treyarch, changed his AVI on Twitter to an Xbox avatar of himself in a Treyarch t-shirt. And whenever Vonderhaar does this kind of stuff, it usually means two things. One, it could be something meaningful, or two, it could just be him trolling. But if we go ahead and look at his Twitter now, this isn't even his AVI anymore. So whenever he did change his AVI to his Xbox avatar, did that really mean that the exclusivity deal was going back to the Xbox? At the same time, if we go ahead and look at a tweet from Phil Spencer, who is the executive vice president at Microsoft, he responded to a person named Sam who said that if the Xbox got the marketing rights for Call of Duty, that he'd go out and buy an Xbox One tomorrow. And in response, Phil Spencer said, quote, "While we do pay for marketing deals, I'd rather you buy a console for what games you can play on it and how they play." So to me, I could take this as two different ways. One is that Phil Spencer is indirectly suggesting that it wouldn't be worth it to buy an Xbox just so that you can receive extra content for Call of Duty first, maybe because they couldn't seal the deal? Or is he genuinely suggesting that a gamer should buy the console that they enjoy the most and based on the way the games are played for that console? So we have two different pieces of evidence suggesting which side got the exclusivity deal first, but once again, it's not direct confirmation or direct evidence that determines which side actually got the deal. Personally speaking, I feel like that the PlayStation have already signed the deal with Activision and maybe possibly for 3 more years. And the only reason I say this is because even though there might be a lot of hate building up for Call of Duty as the year goes by, as I mentioned earlier in this video, and even though there are a lot of people who end up thinking that Call of Duty is dead, in terms of sales figure, it isn't. It always ends up selling. It always ends up being near the top. It always becomes eventually maybe even the top selling game of the year. So for someone like PlayStation who might have been waiting for so long to be able to get such a deal with Activision after Xbox has held it for Call of Duty for so many years, I wouldn't think that they would give it up so easily after World War II. And like I've mentioned before in my last video about Black Ops 4, the Black Ops name sells. So Sony most likely knows this and that the game is going to be selling a lot, which would be very beneficial to them if they receive the exclusive content first for their players. But regardless of all of this, like I mentioned earlier in this video, I don't like these exclusivity deals. I just simply feel that it's unfair for certain people to not get some of the extra content just because they chose to get a console that they like to play, but that console didn't get the exclusivity deal for that specific game that they're into. Everyone ends up paying the same $60 for which the game costs, and then those who are loyal fans or want extra content end up paying up to another $50 more for a season pass. But then some of those people who end up paying essentially over $100 for the game still have to wait to get some of the content a month after another group of players. It just doesn't seem right at the end of the day. And at the same time, when it comes to a game such as World War II, where we didn't get much to start with, the paint jobs are still missing, the flak gun events didn't roll out until later on this year, and there were only 9 maps to begin with. So this just makes the situation much worse and leads the game to be so dry for those who might have an Xbox or PC versus for someone who has a PlayStation 4. Just to bring an end to the topic of why I don't like these kind of deals, it's because it takes away the hype from those who have to wait. When we have a large community, such as the Call of Duty community here on YouTube, on Reddit, on Twitch, or anywhere else, a lot of players who end up having the maps early due to having the PlayStation, for example, end up showcasing a lot of the new content. This takes away from the excitement from those who have been waiting for a month, and by the time they get the content themselves, they aren't going to be fazed by it anymore. This can become a huge issue to the game, possibly due to the fact that maybe half, if not a little bit more than half, of all the players who play Call of Duty won't even be excited for the extra content because they're waiting for it to come out versus the ones who already get it a month earlier. A prime example of this was back in Black Ops 3 for the zombies community. There will be a lot of people who end up getting the zombie maps way earlier due to having a PlayStation and end up solving the Easter egg in a couple of days. Granted, it's the viewer's choice whether or not they want to spoil the Easter egg for themselves by making the decision to want to watch these kind of videos, but that's not what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on the argument that everyone who owned Black Ops 3 should have gotten the same opportunity at the same time to go out and solve some of these Easter eggs instead of the Xbox users and PC users having to wait a month. And that's personally coming from a PlayStation user myself. So when it comes back to Black Ops 4, where does that fall into everything that I was just saying about these DLC exclusivity deals? Basically, if Black Ops 4 ends up having the DLC exclusivity deal, it can become an issue once again for either PlayStation 4 or Xbox One players to get the extra content earlier, depending on who will officially get the exclusivity deal, just like here in World War II. But to bring it all back together, me personally, I think that the deal is going to happen, and it's going to be going back to the PlayStation, seeing how the PlayStation recently sealed the deal with Activision already for the past 3 years, and I wouldn't that they did it again for another 3 years, but this is just speculation coming from my part, and it's just my opinion at the end of the day. Like I said throughout the majority of this video, I don't think these deals should exist, but at the same time, it is a business for Activision, so I feel like that this deal is something that's probably not going to be going away for a while. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, click the bell icon so that you never miss an upload, follow me on my social media accounts to stay connected, and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you guys think? Is the exclusivity deal going to go back to the Xbox, going back to the PlayStation 4, going to the PC community, which I really doubt, but why not just throw that question in there for fun, or if it should just go away altogether? I would really like to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.